We spoke about it before we knew what the diagnosis was on Monday's edition of the Metropolitan Report, but Jose Siri with a fractured tibia, he hit the injured list. So he is going to be out for a good amount of time. Fractured tibia, not easy to come back from. I mean, after all, the man was carted off the field in Sacramento. So, what are the Mets going to do you ask? Well, a couple of interesting developments. Like I said on Monday, I would not be surprised if Jose Azocar gets called up from Syracuse. Jose Azocar, former San Diego Padre. He is a major league veteran with experience. More of a defensive player and more of a speedy base runner. Don't expect him to hit the lights out, but I would expect him to play in center field sporadically. I do expect him to enter games that he's on the bench. When he's on the bench, he'll enter games as a pinch runner in late game situations or in late game situations where the Mets are on defense. He'll probably be subbed into the game as a defensive replacement to make sure a win gets locked down. But Azocar, and it's been reported by Anthony DiComo, the Mets beat writer, that he should be expected to be added to the big league club at some point in the next couple of days, if not immediately for this series tonight against the Cardinals. But Jose Azocar, also familiar with the organization, he had a brief cup of coffee last season with the Mets after being traded from the Padres to the Mets, and he was in camp with the club this season in Port St. Lucie in the spring. Another interesting twist to this conundrum is Jeff McNeil. Now, Jeff McNeil, it's been reported that in his next game with Single A St. Lucie tonight, he is going to get reps in center field. Very interesting because while Jeff McNeil, who is primarily a second baseman, he has played the corner before, so he's played left field, he's played right field, and he has played center field just 3 times in his major league career. They're going to give him some reps at center field to see if we can help out, or if he can help out, rather, pardon me. Jeff McNeil, former batting champion, so his bat is proven. He's always been solid defensively, but it's very interesting because the Mets do have other options. Of course, they could put McNeil in left where he's played and shift Brandon Nimmo back to center where he's patrolled for so long. But if they're hesitant to do that, of course, Starling Marte, who some people say has lost a step on his feet, agility-wise, he can also play center as well, even though I don't think they'll shy away from using him as a DH only. Tyrone Taylor in center field been awful. Has struggled in center field. And after what happened yesterday, of course, the Twins walked it off in extras, but the ball was hit to Tyrone Taylor. And I don't know if maybe he got a late step, but he could have got that ball and played it on a hop and misplayed the ball, and the Twins brought the man home from second and won the game. I've seen, well, he's not making errors, but he just looks overwhelmed in center field at times. And I quite frankly have seen enough of Tyrone Taylor. He was platooning with Jose Siri. And like I've always said, it's one thing if you can play defense, but the man is not playing great defense, and he's also not hitting. So, I mean, Jesse Winker can also, well, Jesse Winker more of a corner outfielder, so you're not gonna insert Jesse Winker into center field. But Jeff McNeil is said to get some reps. He will start for St. Lucie in their game tonight at center field. So it's a very interesting situation. Again, Jeff McNeil, 3 career games at center field. He's played a bunch of left and right, as well as his primary position, second base. So interesting to see how things are going to turn out. Now, Jeff McNeil, despite this news of the Mets wanting him to play center while he's rehabbing in the minors, Jeff McNeil is nowhere near ready to come up to the big league level. But there is another second baseman on the roster who can play center field. That would be Luis Angel Acuna. Now, Acuna has never played center field in the majors. He's played center field in the minors, but even so, he's only played center field in the minors on a small sample size. Only 10 games in his minor league career has he played at center field. He did not have any reps in spring training this season in center field. Of course, because of the logjam, all those outfielders who were capable of playing center for the Mets in spring training this year. Of course, they had Jose Azocar, Jose Siri, Tyrone Taylor, and the now departed Pittsburgh Pirate Alexander Canario, which this whole situation with Siri going down, it does hurt because we could have kept Canario, but of course hindsight's 2020. But it would have been great to have Canario here, but that's neither here nor there. You can't dwell on a man who's not here anymore. But uh, putting Acuna at second is not something that I would do, and I'll tell you why. Because if we shift Acuna to center field, Brett Baty now has to become the everyday second baseman. And I've gone on my soapbox about Brett Baty already. The man is a quadruple A player. He couldn't master his own position at third base. He looks awkward and uncomfortable at second. He has not looked good at second at all this season. And he's not hitting. So by moving Luis Angel Acuna to center field, you now need somebody to replace him at second. Do you really want Brett Baty to play every day? It's bad enough he's conned his way onto the major league club. Again, he's the greatest spring training con man I've ever seen. But he can't hit. He can't field. I get it. I get the case for Acuna out of everybody. Acuna is the youngest. He's the fastest. He'll be able to handle it. But we're also talking about a guy who's never played this position at a major league level. What's the difference between playing center in the majors and in the minors? You know, it's the hitters at the plate. Exit velocities are going to be higher in the show. Reaction times are going to have to be quicker because guys are hitting bombs to center field. And again, he's never played that position at the big league level in his professional career. He's only done it 10 times. So I don't like the idea of Acuna going to center field. I'm more comfortable when he comes back with Jeff McNeil going to center. But like I said, Acuna going to center is a double whammy because, again, and I said that, and I felt the same way when Buck Showalter had Dom Smith play left field and the man's a first baseman back in the day. But you got a guy with very little experience and with no experience, by the way, at the major league level going to center field. And then you got this moron Baty who would have to play second every day until McNeil comes back. It's just a disaster. It's a disaster on both parts. Not to say I don't believe in Acuna, but I'd rather have him at second than Brett Baty. But again, it's all an interesting twist how Carlos Mendoza wants to manufacture these options now. Because we've never seen Acuna at this level at center field. We've only seen Jeff McNeil at this level in center field 3 times. And for as long as I've been watching Mets baseball, I don't even remember the 3 times he played center. I've seen him in left. I've seen him in right. I practically live in Citi Field every year. Never seen the man play center field. I had to, upon hearing that, I had to actually look it up. Couldn't find any video of it, by the way, but it does exist in the ledger. But this whole center fielder situation is messy. What I would do for now, I understand that you may not want Starling Marte to play center, and that's okay because you have to preserve his body. But maybe throw Jesse Winker in there. But I don't want to see any more Tyrone Taylor either. I didn't like what I saw from him in the field since Siri has been down. But I've seen enough of Tyrone Taylor. And again, the Mets, they do have enough outfielders. Like I said, Azakar might have to be the everyday center fielder going forward until further notice. But I'd rather Azakar than Tyrone Taylor. Azakar is known for his defense and his agility. I think he'd work out better than Taylor. That's just my opinion. I'm giving the vote to Jose Azakar. I'm sorry, but Taylor, he's not hitting and he's not playing defense. So what value do you have on the team? He's good for the occasional hit, but that's about it. But we'll see what happens. But it's just interesting that Carlos Mendoza trying to manufacture these options with Acuna and McNeil rehabbing the minors at center field starting tonight for Single A St. Lucie.